Okay, far more conventional layout this time. Thunderer on both sides. Realazio on the Rebel side, taking a Kremlin, pair of Venezia's, triple Stalingrad, pair of Summers. Fairly uniform lineup. LAFR being a bit more eclectic, pair of Moskvas and the Des Moines for the radar. First appearance of the Yamato, so we might well see a dug-in and overmatch strategy from them, as well as a Shimikaze and a Yeyang on the Destroyer side, and a Petropavlovsk making its first appearance in King of the Sea, at least for my games as well. So it'd be interesting to see how the teams play this one. The heavy battleships over on the LAFR side, I think, will probably prefer point A if they can make this island at the northwest to give themselves some cover and a secure flank. However, Rebels starting to shake out. Pixel Mini, Argonaut CRO, and Unholy Black Metal making an early play for A. Grippy Beg in the Stalingrad had to turn across his teammates, but they executed that maneuver without too much of a problem, so he is now running east, presumably to provide radar coverage for B and C. One strike hit pushing out in the Summers for C. Joe Archer in the second Stalingrad, providing more radar and fire as it's needed, and they've got Realazio in the Kremlin, providing their heavy backup on the eastern side. Murder in the Thunderer, the two Venezias and Unholy Black Metal, as noted, backing up the Summers over to the west. Will 7478 Shimikaze making an early dash from point B. If he can secure that, he will get his team an early edge. But bear in mind, he will also be running the risk of the Stalingrad's 12-kilometer radar set. So we'll see how that works. We'll also see if it produces a reaction from Rebel when they see point B starting to flip. Will's taking the more conventional and definitely gutsier approach of diving straight into B without doing a 3-point turn first. Cuts his engines, turns a little way to loosen momentum. That's something you see more often in random than tournament play. It's a very quick way into the cap, but the downside is that if he does get caught and he has drifted very close to Grippy's radar, there's only 13,000 meters in it. That's only 800 meters of safety. He is going to have no quick way out if he gets seen. So let's see. 800 meters. Grippy not dropping the way yet, and Wills gets the early cap. But Strike Hit dropped torpedoes as he rolled in. Wills hasn't seen them yet. He's turning, saying, and now he's seen them. Tries for the gap, slams on starboard rudder, and neatly threads it. So Wills almost went down to blind torpedoes there, but he gets away intact, and he bags a control point into the bargain. Nicely played there, sir. Okay, Yeyang, Adrius 50 locking down point C, but he's being stalemated by one strike hit there. And one strike's going to be really difficult to winkle out from that position. Damesa dropping his radar. They now know where one strike hit is, but there's not a great deal they can do about it. Well, it's not going to stop Hindenburg having a go, but Strike is nicely definitely there. Does get briefly forced out of control point, but immediately wriggles his center of mass back in and relocks the cap. Over at point A, almost completely unopposed, Pixel Mini grabs point A and makes it one control point each. C is deadlocked, and the two Venezias coming around the flank, Argonaut and Foxtrot, both in a position to back him up. That's 38-inch guns firing SAP. So, unsurprisingly, Nikocab is starting to feel a few bits of excess ventilation in his upper hull workings, I suspect. Pixel Mini drops some torpedoes, not so much to kill, I suspect, as just to discourage any possible interference. And once again, one strike hit got forced out of the control point just for a few seconds, just a fraction. But with Adrius still sitting pretty, if that happens much more, then the control point is actually going to flip to LAFR. Okay, Deep Water's running away from Strike as he breaks his cover and turns out, so that's interesting. Damesa fires radar again, and the Summers is actually being forced clean out of the cap. Adrius, they're taking advantage of the maneuver, but of course, I misspoke there. the Summers does not have deep water. It has surface running torpedoes. And Adrius is, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. He's got the cap and he is up to speed. And I think he is just going to clear that torpedo track in the process. So, Rebel there, now 2 points to 1 down. And, oof, LAFR pushing forwards, but perhaps a little bit ill-advisedly. Will's 7478 getting caught hard by the Summers takes a significant pounding. I think the Venezias, oh yes, the Venezias have definitely got something to say on this matter. SAP down, Will slams on the rudder, tries to break away. He's down to 800 health, 700 burning as well. SAP goes right over the bridge. Oof. 12 feet lower and they would have been down this road, but is he going to burn? He's not controlling that fire. 134 health, 80 health, 26 health, and boom, Wills burns down. So, first blood to Rebel, taking out one of the Shimikazes and neatly removing one of their destroyers from the equation. So, that now leaves a lot of pressure on Adrius and LAFR to try to run a scout. Remember, no carriers in King of the Sea. The scouting role is firmly on the destroyers and the radar boats. Pixel Mini edging the radar of both Nico Cab and, well, it was Krusty Hero, but I suspect Krusty was more popping a suicide radar when he realized he didn't have anywhere to go. So, while the Summers of Pixel Mini was probably briefly spotted, there's really not a lot that LAFR can do about it. There are some shells coming down, but they splash long. However, it does force Pixel Mini out of the control point, so it flips back to LAFR control immediately. Rebel, meanwhile, starting to push in a little. Once again, we're seeing Strike Hit back in his old blocking position, trying to take advantage, but this time the Yang of Adrius has fired up the Yang's party piece, its own radar set. The Summers lands a couple of hits and ducks into cover, takes scratch damage, but critically, again, Strike has been forced out of the control point. However, Adrius fired his guns, and if he's got radar, he doesn't have smoke, so he is now going to start taking a fair amount of incoming fire. The Kremlin, the Stalingrad, the Summers. Rule number 1 of King of the Sea. If in doubt, murder the destroyer. And Strike Hit not only backing into point C at this point, he now knows that Adrius's radar is off cooldown. The Yang has deep water torps, so they can't hit him. The other thing he's really got to worry about is the, radar that just fired off the Petropavlovsk. So Strike is once again diving for his island waifu and gets forced out of point C yet again. Adrius taking advantage of the radar feed there to get some quick hits in with the 5-inch guns. Meanwhile, over in point B, absent the nuisance of radar sets, because I think Panzers has run down, Pixel Mini is quietly Scooby, and the Hindenburg is about to go. Oof, yeah, the Venezia Foxtrot Fury catches Killdozer on the broadside, and almost immediately Argonaut follows up with a kill into the Monster. So the western flank for LAFR has completely imploded. They are now 4 ships for nothing down, and they are 2 control points. It's rapidly turning into 3 control points. Rebel might have had a slow start, but they are very definitely getting their momentum together. Another radar set from Damesa, and 1 strike hit. Is that the 4th or 5th time he's been sent diving behind his favourite island? I've lost count. Oof, Adrius there. Bad hit from the torpedoes, but he is still just about afloat. Fires his guns in front of the Stalingrad. Not that it really matters. Joe Archer popped radar as well, but Strike Hit pops his stern batteries, gets a shot in. Joe Archer's going to be looking for the hit. Foxtrot Fury goes down off camera to the Petropavlovsk, but I think, oof, Adrius just dodged a shot from the Summers there. Doesn't dodge the fire from the Stalingrad, and the second of the LAFR destroyers is down. However, Panzer 4000, well, his Panzer might be about to betray him. Shots come in from the Venezia of Argonaut CRO, and once again, Venezia might not be the best team player in terms of utility, but those 15 8-inch guns, especially with SAP, can bring a remarkable amount of fire support to any team. And Argonaut there is using his maneuver smoke to keep himself concealed and harassing Yoda away from points A and B. Strike hit. You know exactly what he's doing, don't you? In the smokescreen, in point C, trying for about his fourth or fifth cap attempt. I mean, there can't be any radar or pesky destroyers left now, surely. Torpedoes dumped, he finishes the cap, and we are now 90 seconds away from a Rebel victory. I feel the Imperial March playing in a minor key at this point. LAFR, however, are very definitely in trouble here. Sami's Yamato taken a while to get involved. He's not had the greatest impact in this game, but he is coming up now. And the Thunder is also there. But oof, Thunder takes a hit from Yoda. The Summers' torpedoes finding their mark at last. He's down to 40,000 health. He's got a Venezia chasing him and hurling SAP from the stern. And all he can really do is hope that his armor stops the worst of that, which it's doing, but all those little chips and dinks are going to add up fairly rapidly, even on a British battleship. Meanwhile, Damasa is in his blocking position, where he's basically been stuck the whole match, and the Summers take advantage of the relatively low velocity of its 5-inch guns to get a cheap fire there, but the Stalingrad just plows in with the rail guns and chunks another bit of health off. And here comes the Thunder. Remember, 18-inch guns do not care about 27mm plate. Straight through the bow, and there is no more LAFR. So solid win there for the Rebels. If anyone busts out a bunch of 4-foot-tall dancing homicidal teddy bears, I will riot. So, congratulations to Rebel. Solid win there. That was very comprehensive. All that LAFR had left by the end of it was the Yamato and the Thunderer. I think player of the match probably has to go to One Strike Hit, who made solid use of how to play Point C, and in particular got his absolute mileage out of that one island, ducking in and out, in and out, in and out. He may have felt like a jack in the box, but that essentially locked down LAFR's charge through C and gave his team the time they needed to come up through A and B and just pound LAFR into the dirt.